General Hospital spoilers reveal that we have to ask, is Sonny Corinthos really leaving the mob? Is Maurice Benard's role about to undergo a major transformation? While under sedation at the hospital in Los Angeles, Sonny was thrilled to get a visit from his father in dream form. Mike Corbin popped up to serve as Sonny's confidant, so he heard all about his son's desire to get out of the mob. Michael Corinthos was seriously injured and could have been wiped off the map in an attack meant for Sonny. That news was a big wake-up call, so Sonny sees that something needs to change as soon as possible. Of course, Sonny is feeling a bit stuck at the moment, especially considering this persistent threat that's hanging over him. Someone wants Sonny deceased and is working hard with multiple attempts to make it happen. Sonny needs to recover from his surgery first and foremost, but taking down this enemy that's targeting him is next on the agenda. Jason Morgan, Brick, and even Jack Brennan can keep working on that while Sonny's recuperating. However, Sonny will need to revisit his conversation with Jason about a mob exit strategy at some point. It's not going to be easy, but it definitely feels like GH writers are laying the groundwork for Sonny to make a mob departure. That could bring a bit of a new acting challenge for Maurice Benard. Viewers will get a chance to see what Sonny's like once he's free to move on from all the mob drama and reinvent himself. Although fans got a little taste of that when Sonny was in Nixon Falls, that was a different situation since he was Mike with amnesia. Sonny wasn't really Sonny in that story, so it doesn't truly count, especially since Jason and Carly Spencer were still dealing with mob mayhem back home. Is there hope for Sonny to genuinely find freedom and head down a new path now? What would you like to see for Sonny's future if this mob exit is actually happening? Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. General Hospital spoilers reveal that we've got a nurse's ball preview to pass along thanks to a fun video the show recently released. Lynn Herring gave an interview in character, so Lucy was quizzed as part of a news segment for WXPC. In that interview, Lucy offered some great tidbits about all the excitement that's coming up. The nurse's ball is always a treat, but Lucy really played up how it was going to be the event of the century. Of course, there are two things everyone eagerly anticipates whenever the nurse's ball comes back around: the amazing acts and the incredible gowns. Lucy addressed both of those topics, so let's start with the performers who'll hopefully delight all the guests, including a few who may not know it yet. After Lucy hinted about Lucky Spencer taking the stage to share his talent, she shared updates on her desire for a crowd-pleasing Magic Milo return performance. However, Lucy is still in the process of recruiting performers and added that she wanted to deliver some shockers too. You know, I also want to have a surprise for you guys. I really want somebody that is so unexpected that just takes your breath away, and I have some big plans, so just wait, Lucy teased. Talk turned to the red carpet that kicks off May 20 and the top secret gowns that'll be featured. Lucy suggested that people could perhaps wear skimpier styles since it'll be warm, but she couldn't go into any couture details. Lucy ultimately stayed tight-lipped about the upcoming fashions and insisted that no one could see them until the day of the event. That gives GH viewers something to look forward to along with the performances and the big reveals that may be on the way. The nurse's ball often serves as a backdrop for some huge story climaxes, so it'll be interesting to see what revelations shake things up. General Hospital update for Thursday, May 1, reveals that Willow Corinthos will fear losing her kids over Drew Kane's scandal. Jocelyn Jacks and Emma Scorpio Drake will also have some conflicting plans, so here's what GH fans can expect. For starters, it seems Lulu Spencer will confess to Laura Collins about Dante Falconeri's firstborn son. Dante doesn't know his now-grown child exists, but is it Lulu's place to tell him? Although Lulu may feel entitled to share info that involves Rocco Falconeri's half-sibling, Laura will share some words of caution with her daughter. In the meantime, Dante will get some surprising updates over the phone. Since Dante will find out something they did, there's a good chance Rocco and Danny Morgan will stir up some trouble. It may not be long until Dante calls Lulu as well, so they may come together over Rocco's legal issues if a crime's been committed. Elsewhere, Harrison Chase will fume after Brooklyn Quartermain fills him in on Lulu's adoption story. It'll leave Chase determined to put a stop to this, and it looks like he'll turn to Dante for assistance. As for Brooklyn, she'll end up using Tracy Quartermain as a confidant. That doesn't necessarily mean Brooklyn will tell Tracy the whole story, but she'll still lean on Tracy in Thursday's episode. At GH, Kai Taylor will get a promise from Trina Robinson as he heads into the operating room. Trina will vow to be there when Kai awakens, so she'll make some reassuring predictions as he prepares for this procedure. Unfortunately, all signs point to some complications happening during this surgery. Kai could experience some paralysis by the end of all this, so Trina's worst fears may come true. Speaking of worst fears coming true, Willow will blast Drew over the possibility that he'll cost her custody of her children. Wiley Corinthos and Amelia Corinthos will definitely be a concern on Willow's mind as she rages. Drew's scandalous news could blow back on Willow and put her at a serious disadvantage in a custody feud. However, that scandal wasn't actually Drew's fault since he was drugged and framed for cheating. Drew will swear that he'd never hurt Willow like that and beg her to believe this was a setup. Considering Willow's already been suspicious of Drew's bizarre behavior, she may choose to believe him eventually. Nana Reeves will no doubt worry her plans falling apart if Willow sides with Drew. Willow and Drew could start putting some puzzle pieces together, so we'll see how Nana handles all this. Over with Jocelyn, she'll hint to Vaughn about a lead she's pursuing. Jocelyn will form a scheme that could move her to the front of the pack when it comes to earning the research assistant position. That'll conflict with Emma's goal of charming Professor Henry Hank Dalton and showing him what she can do. Emma wants that research assistant gig for herself and will be livid once Jocelyn takes steps to derail things. General Hospital spoilers and updates for Thursday. May 1 tease specific intentions, short farewells, and explosive confrontations. Emma Scorpio Drake has specific intentions, Trina Robinson bids a short farewell, and Willow Corinthos and Drew Kane have an explosive confrontation. Brooklyn and Harrison Chase are outside of the boathouse on the Quartermain property when she has a curious question. She asks where he's going, as he seems to be in a big hurry, and he tells her to put an end to this. Chase has found something that it's high time to get taken care of, and it sounds like he has to straighten it out. It's an urgent matter to be sure, as far as Chase is concerned, and it's possible he may be heading for Tracy Quartermain. Brooklyn opens up to Tracy about something, and perhaps it didn't go all that well. In the meantime, inside of the mansion, Tracy seems blindsided at a question. She asks, "Was it something I said?" Perhaps it is Chase confronting her over something she said to Brooklyn. Tracy will likely play dumb and not understand what the problem is, hence the question. Was it something she said? It sounds like something major and possibly upsetting to get a response like that out of Chase, that he has to rush over and put an end to it. But the question is now, will he be able to? Tracy's a pretty difficult person to stop or to influence to change her mind. Emma appears to be working on some homework since she's doing something on a laptop. She says she fully intends to show Professor Henry Dalton what she can do. She has specific intentions of winning that lab assistant job that she and Jocelyn Jacks are competing for, and it looks like Emma's way ahead. In the meantime, still puzzling to her grandmother Anna Devane is why the professor transferred to PCU from the same college Emma got booted out of. It may be Anna that Emma is talking to, but it could also be her friend Gio Palmieri, who she's continuing to get closer to. But Jocelyn may have some intel that Emma doesn't about Dalton. At the hospital, Trina bids Kai Taylor a short farewell as he's preparing to be wheeled into surgery. She tells him, "I'll see you on the other side, okay?" As she inwardly frets that other side could be literal, like the other side of eternity. She had done her best to dissuade Kai from agreeing to the very risky surgery that her mother, Portia Robinson, had advised against. She'd even told him it wasn't too late to change his mind, but Kai was determined to take that once chance to play football again. Besides, now he signed a release for the procedure to be filmed, and Trina had to sign it too. In the meantime, Jocelyn is with Vaughn, her WSB handler, and she tells him, "I have a lead on that right now." She hasn't yet gotten the position where she could be the closest to the professor, but she definitely saw something suspicious at GH. She was in the hall when she saw Dalton gain entrance to an area where hospital pharmaceuticals are kept. There's no way he should have access, and yet he entered and exited a short time later with a key card. Might that be the lead that she's referring to and telling Vaughn? Elsewhere, Lulu Spencer is continuing her interview with her mother, Laura Collins. Lulu's in tears as she asks her mother, "Wasn't that my secret to share?" Laura certainly wasn't worried about Lulu's video and her article about Drew being published in the Herald, apparently not the banner as she'd intended. Laura considered that a public service. It sounds more like they're talking about that other secret. Did Lulu open up about what she found out about Brooke Lynn and Dante's adopted baby? In the meantime, Dante is on the phone with someone and looks very puzzled. He asks, "I'm sorry, they did what, Chase?" Chase also makes a request of Dante, so he may be the one on the other end of that phone call. Dan is definitely shocked at what he's being informed of, and soon he and Lulu will have an emotional talk. Did someone leak the secret about Dante and Brooklyn's child? Or are they talking about police business, such as what's going on with Drew or what happened to his father, Sonny Corinthos, in LA? Drew has come to Nana Reeves' house looking for Willow, who's gone to cry on her mother's shoulder after reacting to Drew's scene. She's been torn between believing he'd really cheat on her like that, but it sounds like now reality has really hit her. She's screaming at Drew, "And now, because of you, I might lose my kids." Their relationship is very public because he's a public figure, and she has to do urgent things to keep her kids, and even then she may not be able to. ABC's General Hospital is pushing boundaries with an escalating storyline that intertwines hidden legacies, scientific intrigue, and emotional warfare. At the heart of this unfolding drama is Professor Henry Dalton, a mysterious newcomer whose arrival in Port Charles is sparking speculation and suspicion, particularly around his potential connection to Sonny Corinthos. Initially presented as a cerebral and enigmatic figure, Dalton quickly caught the attention of both viewers and characters alike. Jocelyn Jacks, newly minted as a WSB operative, is tasked with uncovering Dalton's true motives. However, as she embeds herself deeper into his orbit, the mission may become more personal than she ever expected. One of the most compelling fan theories suggests that Dalton may be Sonny Corinthos' biological son. This hypothesis aligns with General Hospital's long-standing tradition of dramatic familial revelations. Sonny's tumultuous past and numerous romantic entanglements provide plausible ground for such a storyline. If true, this would recast Dalton not as an outsider, but as a product of abandonment and resentment, an academic turned antagonist, seeking retribution for a life lived in the shadows. Recent assassination attempts on Sonny, first a calculated bombing, then a hospital attack, suggest a strategic vendetta, possibly orchestrated by someone with intimate knowledge of Sonny's life. Dalton's calm demeanor, manipulative skill set, and potential motive hint at a complex revenge plot rooted in personal history rather than ambition alone. As Joss grows closer to Dalton, her role shifts from investigator to possible pawn in a larger scheme. The emotional risks are heightened by her direct connection to Sonny, making her a critical vulnerability. Meanwhile, Carly, Dant, and other Corinthos family members remain unaware of the approaching storm. The dramatic irony builds as the audience anticipates the inevitable collision between identity and truth. If Dalton is revealed as Sonny's son, the ramifications could fracture the Corinthos family. Loyalty may splinter as relatives grapple with guilt, anger, and unresolved history. The Dodo-SB's involvement further complicates matters, potentially elevating a local vendetta to international stakes, especially if Dalton's actions implicate global operations. Parallel to Dalton's arc is a psychologically charged subplot involving Alexis Davis. A relic from her traumatic past, the dagger used by Helena Cassadine to murder her mother resurfaces in her life. Sent anonymously by Jen Sidwell, the weapon triggers a wave of suppressed memories and emotional instability. Rather than using the dagger for blackmail, Sidwell's decision to send it without demands suggests a psychological manipulation tactic. As Alexis wrestles with her fear and fury, her protective instincts toward her daughter, Christina, erupt violently. In a confrontation with Rick Lansing, who threatens to expose Christina's involvement in a serious car crash, Alexis snaps. In a moment of raw maternal instinct, she brandishes the dagger, signaling a shift from rational defense to primal aggression. This confrontation marks a pivotal moment for Alexis. No longer merely a survivor of the Cassadine legacy, she now stands on the edge of becoming a participant in its darkness. Ava Jerome's attempts at manipulation only escalate the situation, leading to another intense encounter where Alexis' breaking point becomes clear. Adding a speculative sci-fi dimension, a new layer to Dalton's character is emerging, his possible connection to cloning technology. Actor Daniel Goddard, who plays Dalton, recently referenced Nobel laureate Sir John Gurdon on social media, hinting at thematic ties to human cloning. Gurdon's pioneering work in nuclear transplantation serves as a foundational touchstone for this arc. This reference has fueled fan theories that the show may explore human duplication, with Dalton positioned as the scientific mastermind. The groundwork has already been laid through past storylines involving memory mapping and psychological conditioning. The concept of cloning could explain erratic behavior in characters like Drew Kane and open a narrative pathway for reintroducing familiar faces or their replicas. General Hospital is setting the stage for a multi-layered, emotionally and intellectually rich storyline. Between familial revelations, psychological trauma, and speculative science, the show continues to evolve its narrative scope. As secrets unravel and confrontations intensify, Port Charles faces a reckoning shaped by identity, revenge, and legacy. The path forward promises dramatic payoffs. Whether it's Dalton's true origins, Alexis's descent into darkness, or the implications of cloning, each thread is woven into a high-stakes tapestry of suspense. Viewers should prepare for twists that challenge the boundaries of daytime television and redefine character arcs in unprecedented ways. General Hospital is undergoing a narrative transformation, and at its epicenter is Maxie Jones, portrayed by Kirsten Storms in what many fans are calling a career-defining resurgence. With Storms returning to the screen after a period of personal health challenges, her portrayal of Maxie is infused with depth, confidence, and renewed strength, marking a turning point not only for the character but for the show itself. Storm's re-entry isn't just a return, it's a reinvention. Maxie now emerges as a more composed and commanding presence, no longer a supporting figure orbiting the chaos of Port Charles, but a lead force actively shaping its unfolding drama. Viewers have taken notice of the transformation, both in character and performance. The evolution is not just cosmetic. It reflects Maxie's psychological growth and maturity, stemming in part from Storm's own personal journey through illness and recovery. Now at the forefront, Maxie is more than a working mother or an emotional confidant. She's becoming a central axis in General Hospital's storyline, a woman who balances corporate ambition with moral conviction. Her promotion to the face of Deception, a major cosmetic brand within the show's universe, is a strategic power move that places her directly in the crosshairs of rival factions, media scrutiny, and internal sabotage. This new chapter brings a shift in tone and stakes. No longer defined by heartbreak or reactive decisions, Maxie now operates with precision and strategic foresight. Her influence extends beyond deception. She's featured prominently in high-profile interviews, brand campaigns, and public appearances, effectively reshaping the media narrative in Port Charles. As her power grows, so do the threats. Whisper campaigns, sabotage attempts, and carefully leaked scandals hint at a looming takedown effort by those who feel destabilized by her rise. Simultaneously, Maxie is becoming a protector in her personal life. She offers critical emotional support to Brooklyn as she navigates the fallout from the revelation that Gio is her long-lost son. Drawing from her own maternal struggles, Maxie's empathy anchors Brooklyn through the storm of public and personal backlash. In parallel, she stands as a quiet guardian to Sasha, shielding her from resurging threats during a vulnerable pregnancy. These dual roles demonstrate Maxie's capacity to lead, nurture, and defend, all without losing sight of her core values. What distinguishes Maxie's evolution is its multidimensional nature. She is no longer a reactionary figure responding to crises, but a proactive strategist influencing outcomes. As she weaves herself into broader alliances, including a burgeoning network of strong female figures, Maxie is becoming a soft power force, capable of shifting narratives through emotional intelligence and media acumen rather than political or physical leverage. Under Storm's portrayal, Maxie now commands attention not just through dialogue, but through presence. Her storyline is expanding beyond traditional soap opera arcs into territory that blends corporate intrigue, social advocacy, and female empowerment. Through community outreach, mental health awareness campaigns, and authentic storytelling, Maxie is redefining what influence looks like in Port Charles. The performance has not gone unnoticed. Fan response has been overwhelmingly positive, with social media flooded with praise, screen captures, and calls for more central plotlines. Viewers recognize the authenticity in Storm's return, a quiet power that resonates with real-life resilience. Her presence feels not only believable but necessary, and many fans see her as the emotional and narrative anchor the show has been missing. As General Hospital moves into this new era, Maxie Jones is no longer a secondary character. She is the story. With Kirsten Storms at the helm, the character has transcended her past to become a symbol of renewal, leadership, and modern complexity. Whether leading deception, protecting loved ones, or challenging power structures, Maxie is not just navigating Port Charles, she's reshaping it. And for the first time in years, it feels like General Hospital is telling a story truly built for the future. In a dramatic shift for General Hospital, Laura writes Carly Spencer embarks on a critical international arc that reshapes the Corinthos family narrative. Amidst speculation about Wright's brief absence from filming, the storyline propels Carly to Germany, where dual revelations around her sons, Michael and Morgan, anchor an emotionally intense and politically strategic plotline. The series positions Carly at a pioneering neurorehabilitation facility in Munich, where Michael is receiving advanced treatment following a coma-inducing explosion. Unbeknownst to her, the same facility discreetly houses Morgan Corinthos, long presumed dead, now recovering from trauma-induced amnesia. Carly's discovery of Morgan sets in motion a secret investigation that spans clinical records, coded aliases, and covert consultations with Sonny's operative, Brick. Simultaneously, Sonny Corinthos struggles to maintain control over his criminal empire in Los Angeles. Delegating authority to Brick and Jason Morgan, Sonny navigates threats from international cartels, particularly one potentially tied to Valentine Cassadine. These undercurrents intersect with Carly's findings, as she uncovers that the European clinic is partially funded by cartel-affiliated entities, drawing her deeper into a geopolitical web of finance and family. Carly's negotiation skills and tenacity come to the forefront. She leverages Corinthos' financial influence to gain access to Morgan, while initiating covert alliances that secure a Baltic shipping corridor advantageous to Sonny's operations. Her dual role as mother and strategist culminates in a tentative family reunion and a brief period of emotional reprieve. Michael shows signs of recovery, and Morgan begins reintegrating socially, albeit cautiously. However, the reprieve is short-lived. With new threats emerging stateside, Carly returns to LA with both sons in tow. Jason greets them at a secure terminal, marking a tactical regrouping of Corinthos' leadership. Federal crackdowns on cartel operatives ensue, facilitated by intelligence Carly gathered abroad. The return to Port Charles triggers a series of reunions and emotional reconciliations, particularly with characters like Avery, AJ, Lulu, and Dante, reinforcing the family's strengthened cohesion. Yet, the Corinthos family's trials are far from over. Valentine's response is immediate and targeted, focusing on Carly's media venture. In response, Carly, Sonny, and Jason craft a multi-layered countermeasure that integrates legal defenses, media control, and underworld tactics. Armed with European intelligence and reinforced by new global alliances, Carly transforms from a reactive participant into a primary architect of the Corinthos legacy. As dawn breaks over Port Charles, Carly, flanked by Michael and Morgan, stands ready. Her strategic resilience, maternal drive, and executive acumen signal a new era. The Corinthos-Spencer dynasty, shaped by loss and rebirth, enters its next phase under Carly's leadership. General Hospital star Finola Hughes has nearly 200K followers, and many of them loved her fabulous gift so much that they wanted one for themselves. Read on to find out why she got the gift and what it was. If you are a fan of the long-running daytime drama, you might already know that on April 10, 1985, Finola starred in her first episode. Well, the gift that she shared on Instagram was probably because of that. Finola shared a stunning doll, not just any old one either. In her caption, the ABC star said, "A huge thank you to Adhexion for creating this one-of-a-kind doll. She is gorgeous, and I am so happy she gets to live with me. Big thank you to Jen Moore, Amy, Denise, Aurora, Sly, Rachel, Donna, Kat, Lisa, Nikki, Theresa, Kelly Maytheep, Queen Anna, Nadia, Michelle, Kathy, Courtney, Holly, Shayna, Erica, Brian L., Terita, Kathy, Karen." The first reaction to the gift that Finola Hughes got was astonishment at the perfect features. Many people agreed that it looked exactly the same as her. Co-star Laura Wright wrote, "Incredible." Then Christina Wagner said, "Dazzling disco girl." Of course, the quality of the work was so good that fans wished they could also have a doll that looked like Anna Devane. One of them wrote, "Wow. Love it. Want one. Can we buy Finola dolls?" However, Finola just laughed about it. More admiring comments arrived. Well, as it was a one-of-a-kind doll that looked like Finola Hughes, it seems they are not available to buy. HEFX2AN's dolls come with a wide range of prices, from about $75 US to potentially several thousand. Their special one-of-a-kind art dolls are individually created, making them unique and generally pricier because of the artist's effort, talent, and the supplies they use. In a dramatic turn of events on General Hospital, Drew has begun to piece together the truth behind his recent downfall. After a tumultuous night that left his reputation in shambles, evidence now suggests he may have been the target of a carefully orchestrated scheme. According to recent developments, Nina, after months of contemplation, finally formulated a plan to neutralize Drew. With encouragement from Iva, she formed an alliance with Portia, who harbored her own resentment toward him. The duo devised a strategy that involved manipulating Drew through seduction and public scandal. Their hired accomplice, Jinda, was tasked with luring Drew into compromising behavior, while another operative, Justinda, subtly exposed his personal flaws to damage his image further. The operation came to a head on April 29, when Drew, apparently under the influence, exhibited erratic and alarming behavior in public. Unbeknownst to him, a bystander named Lulu captured the incident on video, creating potential for lasting reputational harm. Drew, upon regaining clarity, suspected his drink had been spiked. He later identified the substance as compound hay, a restricted medical chemical not available to the general public. Driven to uncover the truth, Drew launched his own investigation and traced the origin of the compound back to General Hospital. It appears Brad may have been coerced into supplying the chemical to Portia. Though hesitant, Brad's knowledge may become instrumental in unraveling the conspiracy. Ultimately, Drew discovers that Nina and Portia were behind the scheme. While Willow initially struggles to believe him, compelling evidence prompts her to reassess. She ultimately condemns her mother's betrayal, creating further tension within the family. The implications of this revelation are significant. With the truth exposed, Drew's next steps, and the fallout for those who plotted against him, remain to be seen. General Hospital spoilers. Willow discovers Drew is Shiloh. The real Drew died in prison. Port Charles is once again the epicenter of emotional turbulence, as Molly Lansing Davis confronts a cascade of betrayals that ultimately lead her to reunite with TJ Ashford and the child they had through surrogate Andrea Gates. What began as subtle doubts about family loyalty spirals into a full-scale reckoning, forcing Molly to sever ties and forge a new path forward. The turning point comes when Molly meets with her mother, Alexis Davis, at the Metro Court. Initially intended as a routine update, the meeting unravels into a shocking confession. Alexis reveals that Molly's sister, Christina Corinthos Davis, was involved in the hit-and run that left their father, Rick Lansing, hospitalized. Compounding the betrayal, Alexis admits to concealing the truth, even considering psychiatric intervention to shield Christina from legal consequences. This revelation fractures Molly's already tenuous trust. Unable to comprehend the deception, especially from her own mother, she withdraws emotionally and physically, seeking clarity away from those who failed her. Meanwhile, TJ Ashford is revealed to be secretly caring for the child he had with Molly, a child presumed lost due to Andrea's claim of miscarriage. When Molly unexpectedly contacts TJ, she is stunned to find him with the baby. What follows is an emotionally charged confrontation, where both face the consequences of hidden truths. TJ explains that Andrea had fabricated the miscarriage, driven by grief and a delusional desire to raise the child as her own. Determined to reclaim their son, TJ and Molly confront Andrea at her rental property. Law enforcement intervenes swiftly, arresting Andrea for kidnapping and child endangerment. Molly, overwhelmed yet resolute, embraces her child, marking a critical moment of restoration and emotional closure. Though family members plead for reconciliation, Alexis through repeated voicemails, Christina with apologies, and Rick with offers of support, Molly remains steadfast. She declines to reopen old wounds, choosing instead to prioritize healing and her immediate family. In the weeks that follow, Molly and TJ make the decisive move to leave Port Charles. They name their son Gabriel and depart quietly, leaving behind a town steeped in secrecy and fractured loyalty. Their departure is symbolic, a deliberate rejection of the chaos that once defined their lives, and a step toward building a future based on transparency and trust. This storyline underscores the ongoing themes of truth, familial obligation, and the search for personal identity that define General Hospital. As Molly and TJ step into an unknown future, they do so united, determined to rewrite their family story on their own terms. In a shocking turn of events, shaking Port Charles General Hospital introduces a dramatic revelation. The presumed dead cult leader Shiloh has been living under the stolen identity of Drew Kane. What begins as subtle behavioral shifts in Drew eventually unravels into a high-stakes conspiracy involving criminal mastermind Cyrus Renault, psychological manipulation, and a daring undercover scheme. 5 years ago, at the height of the Dawn of Day cult's collapse, Cyrus Renault orchestrated a secret rescue operation, saving Shiloh from his reported death. Recognizing his manipulative prowess, Cyrus enlisted Shiloh in a calculated plan, replacing the incarcerated Drew Kane with a surgically altered Shiloh. Through facial reconstruction and a presumed prison killing, Shiloh assumed Drew's identity with no suspicion from Port Charles residents. The imposter's demeanor raised red flags. Drew became emotionally distant, methodically manipulative, and particularly controlling toward Willow, a former Dawn of Day victim. Triggered by familiarity in his behavior, Willow witnessed a disturbing ritual identical to one Shiloh used, confirming her worst fears. Her confrontation, designed with cult-specific cues, pushed Shiloh to break character and reveal his true self. Simultaneously, Jason Morgan pursued inconsistencies in Drew's prison records. Surveillance footage, falsified transfer documents, and a missing prison warden pointed to a deeper cover-up. His search led to an off-the-grid medical facility in Eastern Europe, where he located the real Drew, alive but amnesiac due to prolonged sedation and psychological conditioning. With medical and DNA evidence in hand, Jason brought the real Drew back to Port Charles. The confrontation at an ELQ board meeting exposed the impersonation publicly. A physical altercation ensued, ending with Shiloh's arrest. This time, with irrefutable proof and no way to fake his demise, Shiloh's reign of deception concluded definitively. The revelations sent shockwaves through the town and ELQ's leadership. Willow began trauma recovery therapy, while Jason and Drew worked to rebuild their fractured relationship. Meanwhile, the Corinthos family, still healing from past traumas, faced renewed scrutiny over child safety decisions, particularly involving Donna's care during Sonny's hospitalization. Donna Corinthos' safety came under fire when Cody Bell, injured and under heavy medication, was left in charge of her. Despite visible impairment from a recent accident, Cody was assigned to watch Donna, raising serious concerns about judgment and accountability. Molly Lansing Davis, who authorized the decision, faced public and familial criticism for entrusting Donna's welfare to someone unfit. Complicating matters, Christina Corinthos Davis was originally designated as Donna's guardian during Sonny's surgery, but left impulsively to resolve a personal conflict, contributing to the dangerous chain of events. The incident spurred fierce debate within the General Hospital fanbase and Port Charles community. While some defended Cody's ties and intentions, others condemned the irresponsibility of those involved, especially considering Donna's past brush with danger involving medication. Questions of trust and caregiving responsibilities took center stage, prompting wider concerns about the Corinthos family's internal dynamics. As the community processes the revelations and recovers from recent events, the broader implications loom large. With Cyrus Renault still manipulating from the shadows, and trust within key families strained, future episodes promise further unraveling. The saga underscores the high emotional and ethical stakes in Port Charles, where identity, loyalty, and safety are perpetually in flux. The latest developments in General Hospital mark a turbulent and high-stakes transformation within the Corinthos family, driven by internal fractures and strategic repositioning. At the heart of this shift is Sonny Corinthos, whose deteriorating mental state is threatening to unravel not only his personal relationships, but the power structure of Port Charles itself. Once fortified by unwavering loyalty from Carly and Jason, Sonny now finds himself surrounded by emotional chaos. Old betrayals and psychological scars fuel a mounting instability that's no longer just internal. It's affecting his grip on control, trust, and leadership. With relationships faltering, particularly with Jason and Carly, Sonny is cornered by paranoia and emotional volatility, struggling to maintain the image of a composed mob boss while privately spiraling. Jason Morgan, once Sonny and Carly's most dependable ally, has become the wild card. Once defined by loyalty and strategic clarity, Jason now operates in silence, making independent decisions that defy predictability. His emotional detachment and secrecy have eroded Carly's trust, positioning him less as a partner and more as a threat. As Jason distances himself, both emotionally and tactically, the power vacuum he leaves behind forces Carly and Sonny to reassess their alliances and act accordingly. This reassessment culminates in a significant realignment. Carly abandons her traditional role as a peacemaker and fully commits to standing beside Sonny. Their renewed alliance is not driven by nostalgia but strategic necessity. With threats mounting, Carly and Sonny choose unity over division, crafting a formidable power block that signals to their enemies that the Corinthos Empire is far from crumbling. However, Jason's transformation into a destabilizing factor isn't without purpose. Rather than resist, he appears to embrace his role as the scapegoat. His silence and withdrawal act as a catalyst, compelling Carly and Sonny to confront their differences and forge a stronger front. This calculated self-sacrifice not only accelerates their consolidation of power, but also protects the family from deeper internal collapse. Simultaneously, the ongoing purge, spearheaded by Sonny, places former allies like Brennan in a perilous position. What began as subtle distancing has now evolved into a ruthless elimination of threats. Brennan, once the orchestrator of behind-the-scenes manipulations, finds himself isolated and vulnerable as former associates' defect and secrets are weaponized. The tension across Port Charles has reached a boiling point. No longer a city of blurred lines, it is now governed by absolute loyalty, swift retribution, and constant surveillance. Sonny and Carly's resurgence as a united force has reset the balance of power. Yet their dominance is built on shifting ground, and every strategic advantage comes at the cost of personal sacrifice, emotional loss, and moral compromise. In this landscape, Jason's role remains complex. Though marginalized, his actions have inadvertently solidified the power he once shared. His willingness to become the villain in Carly and Sonny's narrative allows them to rebuild, stronger, more focused, and more dangerous than ever. This unspoken martyrdom underscores the show's evolving dynamic, where survival hinges not on loyalty alone, but on the ability to adapt, deceive, and dominate. As Port Charles braces for further upheaval, one truth is clear. In a world where strategy overshadows sentiment, Jason's quiet defiance may be the linchpin holding the Corinthos legacy together until the next storm arrives. Sonny's not going to roll over and let something like a vote take away the peers from him. He's got a few options he can do once he recovers from surgery. The tension is mounting for General Hospital's Sonny. Not only has he undergone heart surgery, which left him vulnerable to a murder attempt, he's also dealing with a voter referendum in Port Charles that could take his peers away and replace them with an esplanade. If that happens, Sonny's businesses, legitimate or otherwise, could be in danger. What's worse is that someone like Sidwell could seize control of those docks, thereby controlling the flow of illegal goods. But there's a possibility that Sonny could overcome or even circumvent a vote against him. Port Charles is modeled after Buffalo, New York. Therefore, it's a strategic port that stretches from Lake Erie through Lake Ontario. In addition, several connecting rivers lead north through the St. Lawrence River, ultimately ending up in the Atlantic Ocean. So whoever controls the city's piers can run goods through Canada and to other countries, which is why it's always been a target of rival mafia organizations. Drew, aka Congressman Cutthroat, originally began proposing the McConkey Esplanade, a public walkway, in honor of the late congressman of the same name. Things changed when he decided to target Sonny and Jason, shifting the potential location to where the mobsters' piers are located. A voter referendum will determine whether or not the city will take Sonny's property by eminent domain, and it doesn't look good for our favorite racketeer. Attorney Diane Miller has already explained to Sonny that there's nothing they can do if the voters go against him. She advised him to better his image to win the vote, but Sonny has other avenues he could pursue to solve this issue. For one thing, he could secretly, through shell corporations, purchase the other piers that were the initially proposed site for the walkway, or he could buy up other waterfront properties in town and turn them into docks. Additionally, there are other ports on the U.S. side of Lake Ontario, where he could also purchase a large number of piers. That would take him away from Port Charles, though, and seems an unlikely solution. His best bet is to let the scandal of Drew's ketamine-fueled escapade bring the congressman down, and as a bonus, he could do the same to Councilman Boyle, and his problems would be over. On the next General Hospital, Drew pleads his case. Brooke Lynn opens up to Tracy. Laura cautions Lulu. In addition to Drew pleading his case, General Hospital spoilers for Thursday, May 1, 2025, focus on Chase requesting something from Dante and Jocelyn crafting a plan. Drew. All the manipulating you've been doing, and the insulting, the blackmailing, and lying you've been doing had to come back and bite you karmically at some point, right? He made a spectacle of himself at the Savoy, thanks to a little ketamine boost courtesy of Nina and Portia. The wake-up call is undoubtedly loud, unwanted, and embarrassing, especially for a congressman. He might lose his high-powered political position and any semblance of respect from the people of Port Charles, who only know him as their House representative. Needless to say, he has some explaining to do to Willow, Savoy owner Curtis, and Drew's constituents. Look for Drew to plead his case, but will he guess he was under the influence of a little something while giving everybody a show? Jocelyn, the newest WSB agent on the block, crafts a plan, and it needs to be so good and so stealthy that it'll get her the summer research assistant gig with Professor Dalton. Right now, he's kind of icing her out because she joined the environmental sciences class late and has to do some serious catch-up. What can she do that will give her an advantage? Does it involve somehow throwing Emma under the bus? Meanwhile, Laura cautions Lulu. This could be about the footage of Drew Lulu captured at the Savoy, or, more likely, the baby Brooke Lynn gave up for adoption. Lulu thinks it's her business because Dante was the father, and he has no idea he has a kid out there. What advice does Laura impart to her daughter? Speaking of Brooke Lynn, the teaser suggests she opens up to Tracy. This could simply be about Brooke Lynn and Chase's desire to adopt a baby. So far, she has kept Tracy unaware of the kid she gave up for adoption. If one more person finds out, Brooke Lynn needs to come clean and tell Dante sooner rather than later. Finally, Chase makes a request of Dante. Unbeknownst to Dante, Chase is hiding a monster secret that could damage their PCPD partnership and personal friendship. So, what does Chase want from Dante? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.